Hello and welcome to an overview of the simplified installation for vCenter Configuration Manager 5.7, part of the VC Operations Management Suite. Previous installations have used the Installation Manager, which still exists as part of the advanced installation of VCM 5.7. This installation typically addressed all three different types of VCM configurations: the single-tier, two-tier, or a three-tier installation. But now, for VCM 5.7, VMware has included this typical installation, which is primarily for single and two-tier configurations. This greatly simplifies the installation process and reduces the amount of work necessary for you to do when installing VCM 5.7. So let's go ahead and select a typical installation. The first thing we need to do is accept the license agreement. Select Yes, Yes, and Next. Now, the installer will go through and do a system requirements check for us. The nice thing with this new typical installation option is that it can determine if there are any components that are missing, and it can help us with any required configurations. For example, if we don't have .NET installed, the installer can install .NET 3.5. It will check for previously existing VCM agents on the machine and make sure that they are removed. It can also configure IAS for us. Also, if we don't have SQL or SQL XML installed, as well as the SQL management tools, the installer can actually download and install those for us as well. Now, one note that if we did need to install SQL Server, it would be in fact the Evaluation Edition that would be installed. Now, let's select View Full Results on the prerequisite check. This allows us to see essentially the full results of the foundation checker if we wanted to see all that level of information. And now that all these tests are complete, since we selected View Full Results, as soon as we click the Next button, we'll receive the next screen. But also know that in the background we do have the full results of the check if we wanted to go in and look for any more detail in there. Now, we do have a few warnings, but it doesn't look like we have anything that is critical. If we did, we could go in here and actually look at these and get more detail around each one of them. This certainly helps us make sure that we have everything covered that we need to when we do an installation. Let's close this for now because we have the prerequisites complete. And as you can see here, it automatically took us from the prerequisite screen option where everything had been validated, as we see by all the check marks here. Now, if there were components that were missing, for example, SQL, XML, if that wasn't installed, we would see an Install button right here next to this that would allow us to download and install that component. Now, these are the components that we have simplified through this process. This is essentially the one screen that you'll see during the entire installation. Now, the next screen that we'll see is for the license key. We simply input that license key here, click on Add, and now if we don't have the license key handy, there is a link here to the My VMware site. From there, we can quickly go ahead and grab our license key and add it to the installation. Next, we'll need to specify the domain and account that we want to leverage. In our case, our domain is called Corp, and we'll use an ID called VCM admin. And we'll have to click Validate the ID so that it will actually go out and check that account for us. One more thing just to point out that there is a third screen here, which is optional. But what will happen is that a lot of the information will automatically be filled in based on the input that we've already provided. We would see Corp, VCM admin, and it's picking all that information up already because of our SQL Server install. It automatically captures all of that information for us, so there's nothing for us to do at this point besides select the Install button. And this will take just a few minutes to complete the installation. And after just a few minutes, we've completed the full installation of vCenter Configuration Manager. As we click on Exit here, that will launch us right into vCenter Configuration Manager so we can log in. It will log us in as the user that we've done the installation with, which is our Corp administrator. So it's logging us in as the admin role. Now we will see the vCenter Configuration Manager UI, and from here we can begin to manage our environment, discover devices, install our agents, and really begin to get a handle on the configuration drift or change that's happening within our environment, as well as compliance. So to recap, we've seen how the new greatly simplified installation process for single and two-tier configurations as part of the VCM 5.7 release allows you to quickly and easily begin to use VCM to manage change and compliance in your virtual environment. For more information about vCenter Configuration Manager or the vCenter Operations Manager Suite, please visit VMware.com. Thank you.